So today we are going to do our Science Wednesdays, and we are going to make toilet bath bombs. So these are to clean your toilet, and it's using kind of a more natural, less chemical-based cleaning supply. So they're for your toilets, and it's to replace kind of the scouring powder that you would shake into a toilet. So this uses some basic ingredients that you probably have around your house right now. The only thing that is a little bit unique is our citric acid. But besides that, most of these things are found just regular household supplies. So what you will need today is baking soda. You will need vinegar, isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. Anything you can kind of use anything as long as it's over like 60% percent alcohol. Then we have our citric acid, and this is used in canning and can be bought at grocery stores. It's just a regular canning preservative, and it's also what makes sour candy really sour. And then an essential oil if you would like it to have some type of scent when you put it into the toilet. But so it's a really simple ingredients. Here's our recipe card. I'm going to show you today how to make them, and they do take some time. It's something that you have to do kind of like the night before and let them sit for 24 hours so that they harden up. But besides that, they're really fast to be made. So we're going to start with a cup of baking soda. So we're going to put our cup of our baking soda into our bowl. And then we're going to need half a cup of citric acid. So if you've ever used a bath bomb before, the item in it that makes it fizz and kind of like sparkle in your bathtub is the citric acid. So citric acid is really great to give that kind of rough kind of fizzing that you'll get. The one thing with citric acid is once you add in your liquids, it will start to fizz. So I would recommend kind of stirring your citric acid before and with your baking soda, because it does really fizz up, and you'll see once we start adding our liquid into it. But next we are going to add in our rubbing alcohol. So up until this point, everything in this container is edible, so it's really safe to touch with your hands, to be around kids. The rubbing alcohol is not something that you can ingest, but you could even use any clear alcohol as a replacement in case you wanted something that you could be more comfortable with it being around kids. But as you can see, the rubbing alcohol doesn't really have the reaction that I'm talking about yet. It's the vinegar that you'll see that will really make it fizz up and kind of start to sparkle. The other thing that you need to be careful with this as well is essential oils. You don't really want to ingest most essential oils. So that's something that I would keep in mind, just to be cautious if you are going with the clear alcohol route. But as you can see, it really starts to fizz up, and then you just kind of keep mixing. So I have found that this recipe sometimes can be a little bit dry, and if I would like it to be a little bit more like wet sand, if you mix these ingredients in really well, it gives you a good wet sand texture, but it really needs those essential oils, kind of the 20 drops, to give it a little bit more of that kind of squishy sand texture. So I am going to use peppermint. Peppermint really helps cover up the smell of the rubbing alcohol. I don't really like that smell. I don't mind the smell of vinegar, but rubbing alcohol I just am not a big fan of. So 20 drops. It's kind of all you need. You can add a little bit more if you'd like, less if that's something you're interested in, if you don't like how strong it is. And you can kind of use any scent that you would like. It's just peppermint, I find, really covers and masks those scents well. So mix it up. And now you can tell it kind of will hold its shape and bunches together. So it's super fast to make. Like I said before though, the process that you need to that takes the most time is just letting it set overnight, because you could dump this right into your toilet, but it doesn't have like the shape that you're going for. So for molds, that's something you can either use like ice cube molds that you might already have, or you can even use egg containers. This is one that I have made a couple nights ago, and I just used an egg container, and then I've also done it in my ice cube molds. The one thing that's nice about the ice cube molds that you don't get with these is this one's a little bit harder to break off, where these silicone ice cube molds were really easy for me just to crack. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'm gonna take our ice cube tray and just kind of show you what you need to do. So you just kind of pack in the cleaning supply right into one of your ice cube molds, and you need to push down really tight. So I pushed down all of those molds right here, just like I am with this one, and didn't have really anything hanging over the edge, but they do expand as it sits overnight. So it will kind of puff up, and it will still be pretty squishy once it's puffed up, but then it will harden up. So this I can't really stick my finger through, but like you can see here, I was testing last night to see if it was still squishy, and it was. So it really does take that 24 hours to completely harden. If you are really concerned about the shape and how tightly packed these were, you could use a mold that has a top. You could even use like Easter egg shapes and fill it and then close it, and that would give it some more resistance to not expand over the top. But so I'm going to show you what happens when you put these right into your toilet. So here's one of ours. Kind of looks like a silly muffin, and then you just stick it in the water, and that fizzing comes from that citric acid. So if that's not enough for you, you could add more. If you think that's too much citric acid, this is a really kind of fluid recipe, so you can do with it as you please. But they're really simple to make. They don't take a lot of time. They're something that if you had the ingredients at home, you could definitely make these pretty easy and pretty quickly. The citric acid I purchased was purchased just at Meijer with the rest of these supplies. So this is something that you don't have to order offline. It's not kind of specialty supplies. It's something you could easily get locally. So yeah, thank you for tuning in for our Facebook Live today, and I will see you guys again on Friday for our craft. Have a great day.